Good day everybody, RC Grabbag here, welcome back to the channel. But it's been a while since my last video, and the reason for this is that I had to spend some extra time figuring out this area behind the big trestle. And while I had some ideas already, they weren't fully formed and therefore required a lot of fussing around with all the details. In my last video I filled in the center peninsula with plywood and parked the structures I had there as sort of an early look at the overall plan for that area. I also did some electrical work with bus wiring and DCC components. In this video, we'll be focusing on several different areas around this trestle. Then we'll take a break and look at these track cleaning vehicles from Train Control Systems, and we'll also take a look at this really nice locomotive test stand from Prose's Smart Hobby Tools. So with that, let's get started. With the big trestle sitting where it is, working behind it might be difficult. But believe it or not, the trestle is not permanently installed. It can theoretically be moved. But since it's on the edge of the layout, it needs somewhere that can be moved to. And for that, I'm going to build a small section of benchwork that I can slide the trestle onto when needed, which shouldn't be too terrible because the trestle is mounted on a plywood base already. Also, once the work behind the trestle is done, the benchwork will remain and become the location for a sawmill, some narrow gauge facilities and the like. As you can see, the benchwork utilizes the same 1x4 pine wood construction as all the rest. With the benchwork completed, it was time to get in behind the trestle and begin extending the narrow gauge track. The track work I'm doing here will be under the scenery, and it basically serves as a means for the narrow gauge railway to increase elevation at a reasonable rate. Kind of like a very short helix. Subroad is down, and now the cork roadbed goes down. And finally the track. After the track was installed, I installed clear acrylic strips that I cut on the laser cutter to serve as edge guards so the trains are accessible from underneath, but also protected from rolling off onto the floor in the event of a derailment. Now with the narrow gauge track work in place, I'm creating some supports for more plywood to fill in some of the space between the track at the highest elevation here. The plan for this filled in area is to be a logging area where fresh cut logs are being dragged from the woods and loaded onto narrow gauge equipment to be taken down to the sawmill. From the sawmill, the cut lumber will be transported to a lumber yard in town. Now with the platform in place, it's time to address the track behind the trestle that won't be covered by scenery. To briefly summarize the track's arrangement in this general area, the trestle comprises the outermost loop of track, the ones closest to the edge of the layout. Immediately behind the trestle is another loop that will remain exposed, and inside of that is a third loop and a narrow gauge that will be hidden under scenery. For the loop immediately behind the trestle, I've decided to make a curved arch bridge, similar to the straight arch bridge at the other end of the layout. To do this, I'm going to use 2-inch foam cut into shape and stacked into layers, after which I'll cut out the arches. Some time ago I had cut this curved piece of plywood and never used it, but it was just the right size to serve as a template to cut the foam. Once the pattern was drawn on the foam, I just cut out the piece with a jigsaw. And then once all the pieces were cut, I bonded them together with some Gorilla Glue and set some weight on them until the glue was fully set. Cutting foam with a jigsaw can make quite a mess with the foam sawdust, but it's easy to clean up with a shop vac. With the foam pieces bonded together, I laser cut some 3/32 inch underlayment plywood with the arch pattern I drew up on the computer. The underlayment was then bonded to the side of the foam structure with some construction adhesive and clamped in place until dry. Now with the progress on the bridge thus far, let's take a break and check out some new items for both track maintenance and locomotive testing. This is the track cleaning car from Train Control Systems, and this vehicle does it all. It's heavy, made mostly of die-cast metal. It's self-propelled, it contains a DCC decoder, an abrasive pad on the underside for cleaning the track, and a vacuum system for picking up dirt. I ordered 2 of these to clean both main lines at the same time. Once the DCC is programmed with an address, it operates like any other locomotive in your fleet, with a function button to turn the vacuum motor on or off. Once it's gone around the layout, it's a simple matter to remove the magnetically attached top and empty out the dirt. The cleaning pads on the bottom are also replaceable. Using a shop vac with a brush tip makes short work of cleanup. I'm really happy to have found these, and it's made track cleaning much simpler. If you're interested in getting one for yourself, I'll put a link for it in the video description. The second item I wanted to cover is more for the workshop, and it's a stationary locomotive testing stand. There are others like this on the market, however this one is probably the largest available and can handle your largest equipment. The main structure is this 2-piece aluminum channel, which also carries electrical power as well. The locomotive rests on these rollers, which pick up power from the channel and deliver it to the locomotive wheels, and the rollers allow the locomotive to run in place. The tender rests on this stationary section, which also receives power. The power to the stand is supplied through a connector at one end, which I have connected to my layout's DCC command station. This setup allows me to program the locomotive while on the stand and then test out its operation. These stands are available on eBay, and I'll provide a link for where you can get them. Hope you enjoyed a look at these 2 items. Now let's get back to the layout. With the foam for the bridge cut and glued, and the plywood with arches cut and bonded to the side, I worked on some trim pieces to add some relief type features to the bridge. For this trim I used some strips cut from 1/8 inch plywood. One thing to point out is that I'm not going to get too fancy with this bridge. Even though you can technically see the bridge through the trestle, it's amazing how little is seen. With the trim in place, it's time to cut the arches out of the foam. To cut out the arches, I first use an insulation saw to remove most of the material. Then a quick cleanup of the area with a shop vac. For the finishing cuts, I use a hot wire foam cutter. Once the arches are cut out, I sand them with 100 grit sandpaper. And one more round of the shop vac. With the surface of the arches prepped, I work in some joint compound over the foam. This will provide a nice surface for paint and weathering. After a final sanding and some light gray paint, I think it looks pretty good. For the rest of the bridge surfaces, I got this stone printed and textured cardstock. The brand name is either Notch or Knock, I'm not sure, but it's spelled N-O-C-H. I got this stuff off of eBay, but you can find it online elsewhere. Now before I get too far into detailing the bridge, I want to do a test fit in its planned location to see how it looks. For this step, I'm going to cut a base out of plywood that will support the bridge on the layout benchwork. At the planned location on the layout, I need to remove the temporary risers holding up the track. Then I slide the plywood base in place. Now comes the fun part. Will it fit? Well, I gotta say, that doesn't look too bad. Now the bridge has only 3 arches, and the parts of the bridge that are to the left and the right of the arches may seem a bit oversized, but those areas are going to go into some sloping scenery, So once that happens, they should seem much smaller then. Now let's see what this looks like from the other side when looking through the trestle timbers. As I was saying earlier, you really don't see as much through the trestle as you think you might. But still, in the future the trains will have onboard video, and perhaps future scenery may make this stand out a bit more. Well, that's all the time we have for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Up next is RC's Grab Bag of Randomness. And in this installment, we're headed to Vegas for some more Formula One action. So if you're interested, stick around, otherwise see you next time.
Still able to brake quite deep at the end of the straight there, but you can just see.
Speaking. Too much speaking.
Yeah. That'll be a tough job for the next. So that straight to the top for Max. He's on the headlock.
Lowest frothing temp.